only thing that, brought me to like the Gen Z. I'm a millennial. I'm in the diaspora. My kids are like 2-3 years old, and I can tell you without fear of contradiction or doubt, the reason I left Kenya after the post-election violence, and unfortunately, I lost my job because I voted for the wrong side. So see, it all adds up to bad governance, tribalism, and all that. So at the end of the day, someone has to pay the price. We are paying the price. So the question I want you guys to ask yourself: when I left Kenya, I was 27. I'm now 40. But if you keep thinking that you will be Gen Z 5 years to come, 10 years to come, with the same bad governance, trust me, you will be in the same place we are. We were there. We tried the same thing, but you have to go down inside your heart and look at the strengths that we have. Work on those opportunities. What are the available opportunities? What are the threats? One of the threats that we have is that the current administration have zero respect for constitution and nothing. They just dare happens to them. Corruption is so rampant, and I fail to understand why people don't see it as a big, like we are still talking about. I saw Eric Omondi's, proposal to reduce the number of counties and all that. Then I asked Eric, why don't we focus first on accountability? Let's see the resources that we have, how they are being used. Let's see the breakdown, then we can move forward. Because someone in another space also say that we don't have a lot of problems with our current constitution, which is 14 years old. So we need to focus more on implementation, So as I learned, I get sentimental about tribalism because it's so rampant. I can tell you that for free, and it is what is costing us. Anytime someone is corrupt, they always go back to their cocoon back home, and then they say someone is against us. Someone wants to finish us after stealing the taxpayers' money. And again, the reason why I always say Ruto must go is because the buck stops with the president. The president cannot assume, with all the intelligence he gets every day, that he doesn't know the companies that are responsible for not doing what they're supposed to do, that are taking tenders. Every day we get a list of people who are paid for tenders that they didn't do. It's so easy for the president to make a phone call and just start a special unit and follow these people. So as much as we can go around, the buck stops with Mr. Ruto, and that is the big problem we have: bad governance. So my fellow patriots and Kenyans, please shun tribalism, because tribalism has been used against us, and that is the weapon that Ruto is using now, and he's so good at it. And don't forget, this is Moi's son, political son, So as I land, I would like you to ask yourself one question: 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will you still be a Gen Z? Will we still be fighting the same agenda that we have today? If you can answer that question, then be rest assured that you will either fall on the patriot side or you will be on the other side. Thank you so much, KOT, Wallace, and the rest.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Wallace, we can't hear you.
Whoa.
Wallace, kwani umenyongwa?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Thanks for the concern. Sawa, thank you. I was saying thank you, Ja. We are in agreement. Yes, it's time to shun. We want to make Kenya so good that you guys can come back. You've drawn a lot of knowledge out there. We need that expertise, a reverse brain drain. But we need to have a good space here, because we don't want you to come back and steal your surname is what will keep you from the best positions and opportunities that are available. So I want to give, I said, I think Shikuku, then we'll go to Sylvia, then Farah, then we'll go to Redemptor. So Shikuku, kindly.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you, KOT. Now, today I'm so happy. Yesterday and today I'm so happy because a month and a half ago, when I used to talk about we need structure, we need to get into politics, on this same forum by KOT, people were very much against it. It was about a month and a half ago when I was saying it's now time to go political, it's time to enter the political spaces, and we go in there to implement the change we seek. These guys cannot do it. And people were 50-50, most were in disagreement. But now I can see you have come full circle, and like a proud father that is watching his child who made it, I'm smiling because this was the only way. Because we either had three ways. We either were to stay on the streets, or we pick up arms, or we get into the political space. And the only logical path was we get into the political space, we fight these guys. And now on the TL, I've seen many people are praying for Raila to lose the AU seat. But me, personally, I have a contra opinion. I see Raila should win that thing and get away from the Kenyan political scene. Because our movement is so young. We don't have the muscle to take on this guy. We don't want him to lose and then come back into these murky waters of Kenyan politics. It will make our movement, yes, will be going on, but it will make our work much more harder. The best thing for us will be to see the back of Raila. Let him go. Because this is now politics, 100% high voltage politics. And in high voltage politics, you can never underestimate. Some people are saying, oh, he's washed up, but you can never disregard him. So if you can't disregard him, then keep your opponent away from the political scene. If he's away, we have room to grow. We have room to take. We only remain with one enemy, and that enemy is Ruto. So he better leave. Because what do we gain politically from him losing? That's the question I've kept asking myself. I've kept asking very many people. What do we gain from him losing the AU chairmanship, politically speaking? What do we gain? Because the only thing we'll gain is to laugh at him. If he loses, the only thing it will be a dopamine hit to us. We'll feel a sense of revenge. We'll laugh at him. After 3 days, things will be back to normal. But if he loses, that will be a setback to our movement, because we have to start thinking politically and not stop being emotional. Yes, he curtailed our revolution, but we have to get over that. So he curtailed our revolution, he went away, and now will give us room to grow. But if he curtailed our revolution and then comes back in again, he will kill it completely. Or if he will not kill it completely, we'll just be hanging, we'll just be a footnote somewhere trying to find relevance here and there. Or even if we are relevant, he will be eating into our core support base. So that is one thing. The next thing I would like to talk about is the campaign financing that Morara was talking about yesterday, because that is the core of our political problems in Kenya. Campaign financing is what is making these leaders treat us the way they are treating us. Because somebody who bought you cannot have respect for you. So these guys bought about all of these members in parliament, the president, 70% or 65% of the votes they got, they bought those votes. They did not get them for free. They bought those votes. And that's why they have that madarau. Because somebody who bought you, of course, atakuonyesha madarau. That is common knowledge. Even though hata wewe pale kwa nyumba, if your wife anachangia half, anachangia 60%, ama anachangia 40%, she'll start misbehaving. And in fact, that is what is causing most troubles in marriages today, if I digress. Because when she contributes, she feels like she has a say in what happens in that home. So here our politicians bought those votes. And we must stand up and now say we have to do campaigns in a different way, where people give candidates money. Because when you give your money to the candidate, first of all respects you. The candidate will work for you because you know hata hii pesa sikuwa na, if it were not for these people, singekuwa hapa parliament. Now he will feel some sense of he wants to do something for you. But if you say huyu anakuja na nini atu mkono kutupa urambwi, we want something from him, he will steal. So campaign financing is one of the major things that in our civic education we must tell the people that we have to push out this narrative from their mind, this thought in their mind that politicians are supposed to give you handouts. We should tell them that politicians, these handouts you have been receiving are the ones that are making you poorer by the day. Because once this politician buys you, he doesn't feel a sense of responsibility towards you. That should be one of the major things in our civic education. We should impart in the voters' heads that getting money for politicians is what has created this problem in the first place. Another thing on the TL that I saw on the tribalism, which was not good to see, is when that came up, most of the people, the problem on the TL I see, there's an issue of money and there's issue of engagement and there's politics. Most of the people who have a big following on the TL, yesterday they were rabble-rousing the tribalism for engagements. There's engagement farming also going on at play. So most of them did not believe in what they were saying, but there's a money element. So when you say something that's controversial, you get engagements. And then Elon Musk give you money. So poverty is showing its head everywhere, even on the TL, because some people will just say things that are out of order because they know those things will garner engagement. So some people might not really believe in that narrative, but it's damaging also. So we must know if we are going politically this way, some sacrifices will have to be made, whereby hata kama inakuletea pesa unapata ka check ka Elon, but look at the bigger picture of what your goal is, because right now we are losing focus on our goal. If we want Raila to lose, if we go the tribalism way, we are losing, because if Raila loses, it messes up our goal. It makes our goal achieve our way of achieving our goal. It makes it harder if he loses. If he goes, good riddance. It gives us room. We can work with one less political kingpin. So thank you so much. That's my submission.
Wanyama.
I think Farah, you can go on because Wallace was co-hosting and Wanyama the mic is off. So Wanyama, Farah, you can start speaking.
Santi Redemptor. I hope I'm audible.
Thank you. You've made some points, especially for me when I think of Raila's bid as a Kenyan. As much as I might not have liked what he did with Ruto, I just support him. I think out of Kenyanism, so to speak. And the reality is, there are times we should learn. There are times you can dislike what somebody does, but you do not need to dislike them to the point of wishing them ill. You can use systems to make changes after all. And I remember even when the movement began for Gen Zs, they were very clear. They told Raila, step aside, don't participate. This is not your fight anymore. We are taking over. And therefore, I think even if he lost, he does not have that political space anymore as far as the mindset of Gen Zs and Kenyans goes. If anything, the first time they started having talks and considering being included in the cabinet, a lot of Kenyans said, so let them come together so that we remove them wholesale. They have done well. So I do not think that mindset has changed in anybody. If he gets the job, let him get it for the sake of being a Kenyan. Let it keep him busy. But the idea is we are still determined. Change has come to Kenya. It's coming to Kenya. All systems must go. So I think I'd called out the guys who are in the queue. We'll go Sylvia, then we'll go Farah. Then we'll go to Redemptor, then Fred. Karibu Wanyama. Yeah, cool. It's good to see you. Tusalimie kiasi.
Ni kama ako mbali na mic yake.
Oh, sawa basi. Sylvia, have a go, then we'll go to Farah. Sylvia? Okay, Sylvia, while you're organizing yourself, Farah, go ahead.
Am I audible? I think Sylvia, I may unmute.
Okay. Ladies first, ladies first. Thank you, Farah, you're a gentleman. Sylvia, ongea kama uko tayari. Okay, it doesn't seem like. Farah, endelea. Endelea.
Thank you. I share a very different view to Shikuku, our older brother. Personally, I don't want Raila to win, and these are my reasons. What the Raila and Ruto are doing currently is trying to ensure that the tribal blocks remain intact. That is why you see such a heavy investment in political promises and politics in Luo Nyanza currently. And the idea, from my point of view, is where they'll try to consolidate the Rift Valley block, which is the Kalenjin block, and the Luo Nyanza block to replace the mountain block that was brought by Rigathi Gachagua. And the idea that we are tribeless is very important. Yes, we are tribeless when it comes to matters of national importance. But not all of us are online here, and not all of us identify as tribeless. And Raila and this marriage is only dependent on Raila winning the AUC seat. If Raila doesn't win, he will most probably come back and cause disruption within the government, whereby the Luo Nyanza block, and then honestly we can be tribeless. But as it is of now, we still have very, very tribal blocks that are still very much intact, and that's what their game is. The people of Kondele and the people of Kisumu, it's not that they like Ruto, but we are so used to having our person represent us as a whole. So when their people are in government, nothing much has changed. They feel as though they are in government. So as much as we're talking about civic education and all of these things, we have to understand that there's a lot of euphoria when it comes to matters, politics and campaigns. In marketing, there's a 10-80-10 rule, whereby the first 10% is the influencers. If the influencers pick up on something and they make it go viral, then 80%, which is the majority of people, will follow. Then there's a 10% ambayo inakuwaga nyuma tu huko, they, for lack of a better word, ni watu antirada. Currently, what you're seeing online is the government trying to ensure that they have control of the 10% that are influencers, that can influence the 80%. That is why you can see the campaign against Morara. You can see the campaign against Masi Tarus, because a majority of people are followers. The 80% are followers. As long as we can come up with a narrative and be visible enough and show people that we have the majority of the 10% that leads the people, that influences the public opinion, then the matter can be a lot easier. But it cannot be won on here online. That is a promise. This is not a battle that we will win online. This online front is very important. but lazima tujitolee kwa ground pia. What Morara is doing, you see, Morara has so many graduates from his school already. But we need people in different spaces pushing each and whether constitutionally or otherwise. We need people making up numbers on the ground as well. Currently, any meeting, any organization you go to they want the Gen Z voice. And the only way we can have Gen Z voices that are of influence is if we keep showing up. But you're online, you have a great following, you have a lot of influence online, but kwa ground hausikiki wala you're not being felt. It doesn't add up. Unaelewa, because we will not vote online here, and the people outside there are a lot more than we are, honestly speaking.
You're on point.
The only way we can change people's opinion is going out there honestly. I really love what some people are doing. I know KOT he's been trying to be on the ground as well. I see him, Kenya Daima is here as well. He'll speak for himself, but I love what he's doing. Redemptor as well, may God bless you. But Majama, Morara is going after failed infrastructural projects and development projects. We need people taking up everything. We are the official opposition in government. We do not have anybody else other than nobody's coming to save us. Tunaongojea Yesu peke yake arudi. The rest ni story ya jaba, honestly. So it is wewe ujitole. You know you have access to somebody, to an office. I know I have access to the religious spaces, and I am pushing there. You know you have an access to an office that you can open for other people. Open it and ensure that we are getting. And I said something in the morning that we have to be people of integrity ourselves, because we cannot hold people accountable and try to call them out. While tofauti yetu na wao ni position. Tukibadilishwa hivi, we become the oppressor. It doesn't work that way. Baina yetu hapa, we must hold each other accountable. And you must be people of integrity, because you cannot tell me to change, nibadilishe kusafisha kwangu na dasta nilete mop. Still the same bullshit. So we need as many people going after the legislature and the political offices, but we need people of integrity. We need people of integrity. Si lazima wakue Gen Z. Si lazima wakue beste yako. Si lazima mkue mnajuana. But we need people who will put the collective in front, ahead of themselves. People who see beyond their noses and think beyond their stomachs. So Wallace, KOT, Wanyama, thank you guys. Those are my sentiments.
Thank you very much, Farah. Actually, I was in the space with you earlier. It was Afrocentric space, and you had the same sentiments. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Integrity is not a joke. I think I tried even to look for you after that, because I was interested in, you said there's a faith a sort of conference next week where you're going to hold religious leaders accountable for what has been happening. I was keen on that. I think by the way, guys, let's remember to follow each other, whoever you see speaking. But you have made very good points that we must have a higher level of integrity. People must go on the ground. KOT was on the ground, as you're saying, guys are going on the ground. And we have made that call. We've said the change Kenya needs, every one of us must participate. We are the first civic education agents on the ground. So people take that responsibility personally and corporately. So we are using these spaces. We'll be using these spaces as also equipping stations. People are equipped here so that they can pass it down to their families, pass it to their friends, etc., etc. And that is why also we have been creating groups so that when we create documents, we post them there. If we create videos, what's to stop KOT from making a small clip that we can be passing to people via our WhatsApp, and they teach something on civic education? The idea is, let's harmonize that message. Let's make sure What do we want to teach people? We want one clip maybe on our rights to free education. Maybe yes.
I see Shakira and Kenya Daima here. They're better placed to speak about the Interreligious Council of Kenya and what
Good.
we've been doing with them. So maybe I'll
Good.
drop mic and I'll go to the listeners. But
Good.
I hope Shakira and Kenya will talk about it.
Wako na mic, niko karibu kuwapea. I'm just going in order, but thank you very much. I think next we can go to Sylvia. Are you back? We try to give you the mic. You are not able to pick. Sylvia? Sylvia? Oh, okay. Maybe she has a problem. We can go to Redemptor, then Fred. Redemptor, karibu.
Asante sana. Asante sana. I was not even going to go on space today. I've been talking the whole day. I didn't know social media very well. I think you know. Then I came and I was very active in these spaces, and I didn't know how they come for you. So Alice, you saw how someone started spinning a narrative that I'm a mole. Me who was almost putting my life at risk fighting for Wanyonge. So I have a message for the few people. I think I prefer small groups sometimes because I feel like I panic when I'm in big groups and I'm making presentations. Mine, because this group is about civic education, I'm just happy to report that I've been actively engaging the intellectuals. Tumebishana huko until I've been getting calls from people who finally see that I have a point. This whole, in fact, I've now coined a name for it. It's Raila this, Raila that. I think it is it's a diversion. We are going through information terrorism, and they are bringing irrelevant things to keep Kenyans busy because they've already gone to the ground and they know that the temperature there's a movement. And so the only place they know is because it happened the revolution started in X. They think if they come to X and do propaganda in information terrorism, the movement is going to die. So I come to spaces to listen to people. What are people saying? And one thing I've mastered, because I'm a writer, is to pick out keywords and phrases. Then I can attribute these keywords and phrases to the system. And so the whole hatred, the hate mail about Luo nation is a fabrication of a state. And they're trying to create sympathy. And all of a sudden, even people who've been voting for Raila are being vilified for saying now we stand with Gen Z because they have backed a revolution. And the ones who are with the Ruto, they are also now suffering because this man that they've hated, because you see, what the people who create propaganda, and these are very skilled people. These people pay a lot of money to study Kenyans, to know the mood of Kenyans. And so what you see about pictures of what happened in Luo and all these people are all that is propaganda. And so for a few weeks, there's nothing else people are going to do but argue about what happened in Luo Nyanza. Because you see, for the longest time, the campaign trail, because it's been a campaign trail, had lost following. So because the young people came and started preaching about tribeless, and then the older generation went back to the cocoons. And our cocoons usually are WhatsApp groups where people argue for days. And these are big people. And one of the fallacies, and this is not even my words, these are words of someone who called me today. The biggest fallacy that was created by the Gen Z movement was that the other generations have never done anything for this country. And so that already created a divide. And so that narrative was kept in X spaces. And the X spaces were full of those keywords. Our parents. And they kept saying it until the parent became the enemy for liberation. While these same parents are the ones who've been sharing their frustrations with the young people, telling them, when I left school, I used to get a job. So now that was a hate between the generation. Your parent is the enemy. But I came back to these groups of these intellectuals, and I said, now I'm beginning to understand why our children are blaming us, because the argument all of a sudden became, Raila has done so much for this country. So after 3 days, I realized, oh, this was information terrorism, and it was beginning to wear us down. Because all of a sudden, that is all what people are arguing about. And so there were people who are mourning more than the bereaved. And the same people who have been bought because they've been bought started saying, this is the first time Alu has become a minister. And I'm like, are you living under a rock? These people have been very powerful ministers for years and years. So that was my first comment, to just make people realize that if you see them attacking you, then there's something that they have seen you're doing. My motivation, I'll keep saying, for coming up, I've been a writer, I'm a media practitioner, and I'm a human rights defender, but I never used to say those words because I used to fear if I say those words, I can be arrested. So I've been working quietly. So when I come and I start speaking every day, I'm shouting every time, I'm saying, let's change Kenya, and someone starts propaganda that I'm a mole, it almost works because I'm not familiar with these tactics. So on that note, the civic education, there's a lady who, Esther has talked about the civic education in our village, and it's an uphill task because a lot of people who are MCAs there are in UDA. I'll encourage her. If there's anybody who is easy to do civic education with, and I'm not being tribal here, it is the Kamba people. It's very easy to have a conversation with a Kamba, and they will release songs. In fact, you need to motivate them to start writing songs. Even Kivuda Kibwana wrote a whole poem in Kikamba about Gen Z, very beautiful poem, which needs to be circulated. That is the easiest group to go to, because once you make them loyal to the idea that tutafukuza njaa, you just make them loyal to njaa tuna experience. Can you imagine if you go to the field and just talk about Ndengu to a Kamba who depends on Ndengu for a livelihood? Right now, this is going to happen to you. Just the capture of the things that make us human, our dignity of being to provide for ourselves. So Esther, I wish you good luck. I know you're going to do a good job in Sombe, in that area. You need to hook up with Mkenya from Sikuru, very passionate young man. Kudos to you for what you've done consistently since the movement started. The other thing I would want to say is I have noticed the Morara's videos are released after he's done the work. KOT, I saw you on the train. I would just advise you to just be careful that they will pounce on you if you record during the time you're doing this. So what you need to be doing is you do as much of civic education, record it, but don't release it. So that, because what will happen, like what Morara has done, once people know that's your methodology, they are going to copy it. But if you show them, so what's going to happen is you'll have a reverse civic education, because you'll be showing them, and you see they have the money, but they don't have the goodwill from the people. Remember, we are still grieving because of what happened when they hurt our children. I always speak as a parent because I have Gen Zs and millennials. And the other thing I would want to know is one of the things that I'm really, really opposed to. Shikuku came here and said when he tried to say, let's go political, hizi groups hazikuwa zinakanyagika, because at the heat of the moment, an older person was the enemy. It didn't matter what you've done for this country. People who've even been imprisoned were not even allowed to speak in these forums. Or you come to these walls and you hear people saying the same phrase words. We don't want to see politicians. We don't want to see politicians. And that time you're saying that Kivuda Kibwana is in the house, and this has been a good, a model, good leader or good politician. So the language has shifted, and I pray that we continue to be sensitive to the fact that we are at a point where we have to bridge the generational divide and the hatred. I've just spoke about Professor Kivuda Kibwana, and he has come in the house. I always recognize his presence, and some may not know that I actually went to Makueni to document about public participation. And I copied, I compared with CI, I compared with Kajiado, and I even compared with my own county, which is Machakos. So when I see young people coming and say, oh, politicians must go, we don't want to deal, and that type of a moment, it just created a divide that there was no reason. It was just the fire, and it was burning and burning. But we have room now to come back to our senses and say, yes, let's agree on one thing. Kenya must be saved from the status quo. We are in a bad place. So my last point, because I've taken a lot of time, is when I hear people urging young people to vie for seats, and I come and say that's not a good idea, people take offense. But this is what my point is. If you've never managed anything in your life,
I think we've lost. Am I the only one not hearing you?
Is anyone hearing me?
Yeah, no,
Okay, you're back. You're back.
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're breaking a bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'll finish. Sorry if I'm breaking up. I'll finish by saying, when I say young people are not necessarily the option to vie, this is what I mean. Probably all the young people who are interested in politics in a certain region need to come together and they look for the strongest among them. And maybe where you are, you'll find the person who is the strongest is not a young person. So what are you going to do? Because what we are looking at is leadership at all levels by people who know status quo must end. So this pill that you're just dispensing everywhere, that young people, you must vie, all the old people must leave. That is one thing I want to discourage in these forums. If we are really serious about changing Kenya, it has to be inclusive. So being young is not, and I'm not saying this, like Morara is the only one who says, being young doesn't exempt you from being corrupt. There are young people who are corrupt. We saw Mwirigia, was called Mwirigia. He was 19 years old. He used to wear the same sweater when he was campaigning, and they loved him the way he was. Immediately he got into power, into the seat, he was given a car by Uhuru. So if someone has never managed anything, it's going to be an uphill task to say, okay, you go now and manage your own campaign. It has to be a partnership in the region, in the constituency, in the ward that you're interested in. Go and participate as a campaign manager for someone you're 100% sure is going to change that constituency and that ward. Don't just say, oh, as long as it's a young person, we are going to throw him to be in leadership. I think those are my submissions. I continue to thank people who continue to listen to this conversation, because everyone comes here hoping that their own knowledge, their experience, their expertise is going to change this country. We are in a revolution and we must win. This revolution belongs to the young people, is being led by the young people, but it belongs to all of us as Kenyans of goodwill. Anybody who knows we are oppressed belongs here. Asante.
Thank you, Mwikali.
I wanted to raise something for Redemptor when she talks about politicians coming in. I see Kivutha Kibwana is in the house as well. We've been we've had correspondence with Kivutha Kibwana in the past. Wonderful leader. I think I'll have to go and look at his scorecard when he was Makueni governor to actually concur with you in terms of him being a good leader, as in the records in the Arusha General Reports, etc. To confirm that truly. But from my interactions with him, he's been informative. He's also been helping us on our side in terms of planning, and we'll continue to work with him in advancing the interest of Kenya. I think I'll also contact him after this so that we can talk further. So when it comes to politicians, I've been dealing with politicians for the past 2 weeks, and they're always looking out for their own interests, and that's why things have slowed down. I think for me, who is more playing contact politics right now I'm in Eldoret and meeting still with some of the political people on the ground, and it's quite frustrating. I'm also meeting with youth, and the youth are hungry to change the status quo. I walked around and I've been to the interior of Uasin Gishu, Keses area. I've been to Langas and I've talked to tens of people. Tomorrow I'll still be having a few meetings before heading back to Nairobi. And also met a few people from Bungoma on Thursday night. So I do understand the reservation of the young people when they said they do not want politicians. It's because from my experience so far, the politicians are looking out for themselves. Like every time I keep talking to some of them, for us, we want to hit the ground running. You see, KOT is now has made the trip to Coast and he's doing his thing. We find that for me, I'm here in Eldoret. Okayo is doing his thing and he's actually going up and above beyond what is expected of him. Willie is doing his own thing, and all of these guys are doing their own thing from a place of goodwill. Shakira is doing her own thing. She's doing wonderfully, and we believe that she'll keep doing wonderfully. And we keep having small meetings as young people, and sometimes, and I think one time on last Thursday we had a big meeting of some of the more notable faces of the protest, and we talked about how to get to the Mashinani. But from my position, even the Mashinani people do not want this guy. They do not want this guy. It's just we want to give them the power and the hope and the inspiration that we can actually win this thing. That is what Ruto is killing. It is not a matter of the support. This guy does not have support across the country. And speaking from somebody who has traveled across the country, the past 3 weeks have been to 9 counties so far, and I suppose we have made stopovers in other places around Nairobi. I've been to all the counties around Nairobi, including Machakos County, and people do not want this guy, and they also do not want they want the status quo to change, and not necessarily for young people to take over, but they want to end the politics of deceit, the politics of lies and corruption, and that's really clear across the board. I met some of the people who are involved in the protest here in Eldoret. I won't go into details about who they are because safety and stuff like that. And they keep telling me that they're just waiting for us to start reaching out to them.
Have we lost him?
To start organizing events. We know the government is doing its thing, but I think now the time for discretion is over. This is our country and we have to do something, and we want to do it openly. How are we going to campaign in 2027 if we cannot do it right now? How are we going to start something?
Can you hear him? Give a thumbs up. Maybe
I think it's important, and this is something that we discussed with a lot of people, and even this evening. It's important that we start playing the game of leadership, being leaders. I think one of the things when we were talking with the guys at National Coordination Committee for the People's Assembly and also the initiators of the Kenyan Home Initiative, it's a matter of they want to start doing something. They are ready to do something. They have. I think Shakira, you saw. There are so many people who are inspired to do something. They're just waiting for somebody to coordinate and to guide and to sort of like help them, because for us young people, we do not have the resources to fly to Turkana, but we have people in Turkana. I've met some of them as well 2 weeks ago, and they have a group, and they talk about their local politics there, but they are afraid. And I think it's also something I noticed. I also happened to visit Kiambaa the other day, and people are afraid. It's not like people want this guy; they are afraid, and people have often voted out of fear, and I've always done things out of fear. And if we can conquer the fear, if we can get people to hope that we can change this country, Morara is doing wonderfully, and he's focusing on the president, and we want him to keep doing that. But we also want to focus on the MCAs around here, and the people who are willing to run in 2027. I met some locally here who want to run in 2027 and shake the status quo here in Uasin Gishu County. There are people in other areas also, young people, older people. I've actually also been talking to older people, fortunately, and they also want to change the status quo. But I believe one thing I've noticed, especially with it will be an unfair generalization, but people who speak as Sospita has spoken, is that they're not doing anything much really to contribute to the cause. They give us advice, but I think right now we know what is supposed to be done. We know we're supposed to go out to the streets, and I think we had a discussion with Wanyama. It is time to start networking and forming structures that are going to topple this government and take over. And for us, we're not talking. For me, I'm a Gen Z myself, but in the age group, I'm a Gen Z, and I have the Gen Z spirit. I believe in me, the spirit to actually end this menace in our country. So if we're going to move forward. If we're going to move forward and make deliberate changes, we have to start making this our business, this country our business, and to make this our home. And I think I like Kenyan Home Initiative because of what Tarus wants to achieve, and wants to keep people. You want to keep people in Kenya so that they can build Kenya and live in Kenya. Shakira obviously is doing her bit with the civic education, and we need to have different angles. I've talked to some people, I want to mention them, but they also want to pursue justice for the fallen comrades. They want to document these issues. And we see very clearly that the government is trying to silence people, but people have to come out. There's never going to be, if we allow this to happen, what happened in 2007, 2008, it just happened and people just forgot it. I was in Kiaman, people are like, people are afraid. They know what happened, but they are afraid. If we keep being afraid, it's going to be a situation where it's going to happen next year. It's going to happen. We're going to just be talking here. It's time for us to take up courage and start doing things and going to the places we call that this is somebody's stronghold. I've been to Ugunja myself and talk to people there. We need to start making those initiatives and those strategies and not be on the back foot. And I want to tell the people here on Twitter that politics is a contact sport. He is right when he says that politics is a contact sport. That's how I think for me I've always wanted to play it, and that's how it has always been played. That's why we went to the streets, and we need to go back to the streets still. The protest will continue to happen. I think for me, I'm confident they'll continue to happen because from what I'm seeing from the people I've met and from some of them organizing protests already, they're going to be happening for various issues, for roads which have not been completed, for embezzlement and stuff like that. They're going to keep happening. But you also need to start rallies, registration of members, not necessarily your political party. It can be a movement, and I think that's why I'm very, very, very keen to see with this coming week and those weeks that are coming into the future, we start having more Moraras in the grassroots. We start having people who can actually document what the MCAs are doing with their kitty, what the constituencies. You have the what is it called? The Auditor General's reports on the NGCDF. People analyzing them and documenting them and making sure that this go mainstream. Having there are already people who are already working on songs, people already who have released songs, and we need to start being confident of playing these songs out there ourselves, sharing these songs on social media, getting on different places. So I'm not really sure civic education even is something which we should actually be necessarily giving the largest focus, because people here, I think from experience, people here already know what is the problem is. They just have to be nudged in the right way. It's going to be a political education drive, and yes, civic education still is political education still falls under civic education, but even up to recently, some of us didn't know that somebody can be president even if they're 35 years old. Yes, we can be doing that, but we also have to move further towards ending the culture of voting on tribe. And that requires an education that even if you vote on your tribe, it doesn't help you. And showing people by going to their grassroots and showing them that this leader that you voted, how has he or she helped you even if he's in your tribe? And showing them that it doesn't really matter. And showing people that voting under clanism, I haven't visited Northeastern province, but I was planning to visit Banisa. But here they talk about, I read about it, but it's important that we get there and get to see what is happening on the ground. We get to see how the negotiated democracy actually happens. What does it entail? How can we disrupt it? And how do we get all people, more so young people, because young people have a greater stake in the future of the country. How do they topple those systems that have enslaved the people? How do we end the culture of handouts? I've been around and even here in Nairobi, not here in Nairobi, here in Eldoret, I was at a restaurant and apparently one of the guys I was talking to is a political figure. And when we were leaving, the guys were asking us to give them some money. How do we end that culture which is systematic? I was at Kiamba Church. The pastor there, when I got there, he was telling me that bring your people so that we can help them build their church. They do not. He didn't even care if I'm a murderer, or if I'm a thief, if the money is stolen. They just wanted somebody to help them build the church. And that's something that we need to sort of systematically uproot and identify and go to the grassroots and to the ward level and try as much as possible to disrupt. What we did in 2025 was sow the seed. Now we have to water that seed, and we have to make sure that going forward we will be uprooting these menaces by actually going further to challenge them through recall processes once the IBC is reconstituted. We have to start challenging by participating in the Gunja by-elections because we have a stake there. There's no way we're going to be talking about taking back our country when we cannot get ourselves participating there. The good thing, we have brilliant minds on our side. They are young minds, they might not be moneyed, but they are making that sacrifice. And moving forward, obviously this campaign is going to be sponsored by the people, for the people, and we're going to have the structures to ensure that happens. So the same thing that is happening with Morara, which I totally appreciate. So I think I'm going to leave it at that and congratulate Shakira on what she's doing. I hope I'll be approaching her so that we can have a meeting sometime in the week. I'll just share the information to her confidentially, and then we can see how we can move forward and cover the whole country. Thank you. God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing wherever you are. Tomorrow morning, rise up, go to church. If the politician is there, turn your back on that politician. Go with your flag if the politician is going to be there. We're bringing back occupied churches. For me, I'll be on the lookout for that. I have a team. We're going to be moving across the country. We're going to bring back what these guys have broken apart, and we're going to come back stronger, more organized, and playing for the long haul, not just the short term. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Barak. So, guys, I think it's 9, and I wanted us to.
Back to you.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So I wanted us to listen from Kenya and Shakira. It's something they've been working on, of course. I just brought them here to give us a report on the petition. There is a
KOT, are you waiting for me to begin, or you are talking and you know? KOT.
I think you can hear me. I'm back. I've had some connection issues with power. Stima imepotea tu, but I've tried to.
Wanyama, I can't hear KOT. And also Wanyama, Kivuta Kibwana has just texted me. He wants something to be displayed. Let me just check what it is, and then I'll send it to you so that you can display it.
KOT, are you still talking? If you can hear KOT, give a thumbs up or a sign. It means I don't have audio. Okay, then to say
KOT is not talking. There is nobody talking.
Okay, sawa. He'll hop on as soon as he's ready. Maybe he's sorting out the power issue, he said. Thank you, Baraka. I know we were to look for each other via Telegram, tutafutana bado. Because we need to synergize, we do not repeat functions, we just strengthen what is already there. We're on the right path. I believe Fred was to be next. I'll look for you, Baraka. We'll talk and plan even. KOT, when you get back, just hop on. Fred was next, but I think he also wanted to give Kenya Daima. But Fred go, and then a PP has lost, but Kenya Daima should be next. Fred, please go ahead.
Yes, good evening everybody. Unanisikiza?
Uko safi, uko poa.
Oh, sawa. So I was asking this, hii mambo ya Raila na hii kiti ya AU chairmanship. Who is funding his campaign? Where is he getting the resources from to do his campaign? And hii city yenye anatafuta, is it important for Kenyans or ni yake tu kama Raila? So the way I think, I not pray for Raila to get that seat because he's a petroleer. He has petrol, amekuwa msaliti kwa upande wa wananchi wa Kenya. We have been sticking for this guy, kufikiria kuwa huyu jamaa ni muokozi. I have come to realize this is a conman. This person is not a good person. Kwa sababu 2013 alishindwa, tulifanya election, akaenda mahakamani, Supreme Court ikasema Uhuru na William Ruto wameshinda halali. Wakenya wakaenda kwa maandamano, kukaenda hiyo watu wakauliwa, Homa Bay, Kisumu, Siaya, Migori, Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisii. So there is nobody who has been taken to court kwa kuua wa Kenya. Raila akanyamaza, kukakuja 2017. Tukafanya election ambapo alipeleka kesi mahakamani Supreme Court. Morara akasema hiyo uchaguzi haikuwa wa haki. So akaambiwa rudi kwa uwanja, akurudi. Akatuambia mimi niko na plan P. So Uhuru akashinda uchaguzi, akasema Uhuru ni mwizi. Anaamini kuwa Ruto ni mwizi na huo msimu Uhuru alikuwa mlevi. 2018 akaenda handshake na Uhuru. Akaanza, he went to bed with Uhuru Kenyatta na akasema Uhuru ni msafi kama pamba. Tumekuja uchaguzi wa 2022. Raila ameshindwa, uchaguzi imesemekana ameshindwa, amepeleka kesi mahakamani na ameambiwa ameshindwa. Mimi kama mfuasi wake nimekasirika sana kwamba Supreme Court imesema kwamba Ruto ameshinda uchaguzi kwa njia ya haki. Tumeenda hiyo safari 2023, watu wameenda maandamano, tumeenda maandamano, wengi wameuliwa, most of people have been injured. Raila hakusema kitu. Imekuja 2024, bado vijana tumerudi kwa barabara tukisema we need what we call good governance. Raila akiwa mmoja wao tumemwambia wewe kaa kando. Tumesukuma Ruto mpaka mwisho, lakini Raila amerudi kwa mlango ya nyuma, ameingia kwa serikali na watu wachache. Na amesema kwamba Ruto ni mwizi. Unaweza ingiaje? How will you collaborate with a thief? Somebody who has been looting the resources of the country and now you are in bed with that person. So wewe umesema utaenda AU. Unaenda AU, sisi wa Kenya utuache kama tunaumia, tunasikitika ndani ya roho zetu. Ile yenye tulikuwa tunatarajia hatuchapata. So mimi sitaomba kwamba I am sure Raila is not going to win that seat. He is going to miss that seat terribly. So maombi yangu ni Raila ataanguka, na tunataka tuambiwe resources yenye anatumia ni saa nani, na hiyo kiti yenye anataka kuwania iko na manufaa gani kwa nchi ya Kenya. So mimi kuniambia ati sasa tungoje ati election ya 2027 vijana wasiwanie, so there is no IPC in place. Kama kungekuwa na IPC in place, I was to test with these people of Ugunja. Kama wangepea mtu wa ODM kura, mimi ningesikitika sana na watu wa Ruo Nyanza kwamba watakuwa wanaamini mambo ya Raila. Raila has made most of people to be killed. Number one, alifanya Musanda akauliwa 2017. Huu msimu nani ameuliwa, anaitwa huyu Major General, huyu mwenye alikuwa huyu jamaa wa Siaya, mkuu wa jeshi ameuliwa, Ogora ameuliwa, na Raila hajaongea hiyo maneno. So most of people from Ruo Nyanza, I'm from Nyanza, I used to believe in this man. Mimi na huyo mtu mimi hapana, huyo ni msaliti kwa Wakenya. So Wakenya tufanye hivi, tusije tukalala. We are going to fight up to the end. Kwa sababu ni rais mgani anaambia Wakenya there is no people have been abducted? Anadanganya watu kule Kisumu. Wakenya sisi ndio wajinga. mnalipwa shilingi 150 ama 200, mnaenda kwa mkutano ya mwizi, mnaenda kwa mkutano ya madara, mnaenda kwa mkutano ya mtu ambaye hapendi nchi. Sisi ndio wajinga. Mimi uwezi nilipa hata shilingi 1000 niende kwa mkutano ya mwanasiasa na ninajua is rooting from people. Mimi siwezi, mimi sina hiyo roho. So civic education inastahili kwa watu wetu kule kijijini, na wengi ni vigumu sana. Kama naona young generation wanaenda kwa mikutano ya Ruto, hiyo ni mimi sijafurahi hata dakika moja. You cannot choose two individuals kwa serikali. Unawaambia ati yao ati sisi tuko kwa serikali, unaambia watu wa Kisumu, I want you to join the government. People of Kisumu have been in government 2007. Anyang' Nyong'o alikuwa minister for planning hiyo wakati wa election ya 2002. Wakati tulifanya election ya 2003 Kibaki aliform government. Raila Odinga was a minister for roads and construction. Anyang' Nyong'o was minister for planning. Ni saa hii wanakuja kutudanganya ati wako kwa serikali. 2007 we formed a government, a code government, serikali ya nusu mkate. Raila was a prime minister. Akina Anyang' Nyong'o walikuwa kwa nini kwa serikali. Oru Ochode marehemu walikuwa kwa serikali. So mnadanganya watu ati kwamba we want you to join the government. Which government? The government which is not working for the people. Mbona tunakuanga na wasiri wa madini? Kama madini iko Kenya, mbona isaidie wa Kenya? So it is high time for us to fight for our country back. Thank you. Keoti, shukran.
Asante sana. Thank you, Fred. Good submission. And it's very painful.
So Wallace, you will finish. Then we'll welcome Kenya. I think
yes.
Shakira was here, and they were to give us an update on the ongoing petition yenye wako nayo kwa parliament. So we wanted to also hear from their side. So malizia tu.
No, actually, I was just going to say Kenya should go ahead. I thought you hadn't picked it up. I'll be leaving maybe around 9:30, so it's good to see other co-hosts on the game. But Kenya daima endelea.
Okay, Fred, I request, I see your mic is still on. Ama ni mimi naona zangu because I know my mic could be having feedback.
His mic is off.
Nice. Msijali bana. Huko vitu hazionekani mzuri, but it's okay. Anyway, guys, let me give a quick overview of what the petition is about, in case someone is hearing it on the first time. So when you look at the IBC law that was passed through recommendations of the NADCO report, yenye mliona politicians wanasign wote pamoja on that day yenye walikuwa wamepatana, ilikuwa State House. What it did is through that NADCO report, it excluded the youth from getting being in the selection panel. And why this is important for us, the youth right now, we form 70% of the population, and there is no way 70% of the population can be excluded, can be missing from the IBC selection panel. The IBC selection panel is the one that is responsible for selecting the commissioners. The commissioners are usually selected from the IBC that selection panel of 9 people yenye imesetiwa currently na nini. So yenye imeselectiwa currently. So through that, when you go through that 520 pages, the last pages are the most important, because these politicians, when you see all of them going somewhere together and agreeing to something, just know it is benefiting all of them. It's only that we were on the heat of maandamano and everything. Most of us hatukushughulika kuangalia sana what kind of business they were cooking there. So what they did is they did that, and they made 5 positions for the political class out of the 9 that they had allocated, and the 4 that were remaining, 2 are given to the religious group, the 2 major religious group, that is the Muslim and the Christians, and the remaining 2, one was given to LSK, and the other one was given to ISPAC, this one for accountants. So what does that leave us? It leaves us at a position whereby we have been excluded as youths from the ABC selection panel. That's why me, Kasmuel, another lady called Diana, another lady, and with the guidance of so many other people that we reached out on what we can do to petition the law to make sure that the two main people that were missing, which is the youth and also the people living with disabilities, were also excluded from that. So we made sure that we did a petition that includes us. So let me take you now through the timeline of the petition. What happened? I submitted the petition to the clerk of the National Assembly on 9th of August. And after I submitted the petition, we started following up with different groups of people, because we are not just going to be people who do things, then we don't follow up them. And in that petition, we have me, Kasmuel, and Shakira as the petitioners. So what we've been able to do so far is when we followed up, we met with the LSK team, and also they advised us, because LSK team, we met with Colin Sodhiambo, who is the parliamentary advocate from the LSK, and also he advised us, and also he made sure he made a few calls on our behalf to make sure like petition imefikia wapi and all. Then we also went and met with the civil society as well for the advice that we met with Mr. Suba Churchill, also to get the advice. Then from all these contacts we met, we were able to understand who sits where in the parliament. One of the people who sits on the business committee, where the petition will land first and make sure it is forwarded to the guy is just Morangiri, or whoever handles such petitions. It's Murangiri, I believe so. I don't know, it's Murangiri or Murangaru. I could be getting the name wrong. It is Emilio Thiambo, the deputy minority whip, and that's where we went to. And also we met with the religious council, because the religious council, they have selected, they have been given a position to select someone. So we met with NAMLEF, that is the national Muslim Leaders Forum, NAMLEF. I could be National Muslim Leaders Forum. We met with the NAMLEF, and we also met with the chairman, the IRCK, that will submit 2 members. So from the Muslim side, it is there is a madam that has been selected, and from the other side, I can't remember the name of the person who has been selected. But through that, through working with NAMLEF, we were able also to meet with whoever is the current now executive of Mr. Abdullahi, the current executive for IRCK, in the Religious Council of Kenya as well. Then from there now, we went from the meeting with NAMLEF, because we had to meet them and ask who they've selected, what was their criteria as well, and how they can help us, we as petitioners, as young people who are fighting for the inclusion in the IBC selection panel. So NAMLEF have been very helpful. That one is, and it's a good, we young people understand that there are people who are standing with us. Sometimes we feel the burden that we are like alone. No, there are people who are standing with us. There are people opening their boardrooms. There are people telling us, use our boardroom for planning. Do you need people that you need guidance on? There are people who are making calls on our behalf. So that's after the meeting in NAMLEF, we were there with Kasmuel, Shakira, Farah was there. We went straight to meet with Milio Thiambo somewhere at our office, somewhere in Arboretum. And Milio Thiambo sits in the business committee. That's why mulituona na picha tukua tumepigwa na Milio Thiambo. There are people who are like, kina Mkenya, okay, they were cooking Kasmuel, but I was in that picture anyway. They were like, those guys have started meeting politicians and all. But this has been a process that we've been following up. And anyone who is standing on our way, we are going to meet them, whether they live in State House or wherever place that they live in. Even if Milio Thiambo lived, she was in Suba or whatever place she represents, we would have gone there anyway, because we want to make sure that that petition gets to the floor of the house. And now we went there also. Every person we meet, they were also giving us more guidance, because some of the things, we are just lacking the gap in terms of understanding of how some of the things are done. And it's not like it's a big gap, but it's because most of us young people have lacked people to guide us on how to do some of these things. So that's why some of us, like me, we've decided to be very involved, in these processes, because if we are not involved in these processes, yes, I know I can just sit down and be like, oh, I'm just a software engineer. But again, even if I'm software engineer, when it comes to the matters of the national importance, I think it's all hands on deck. So Millie Odhiambo advised us on where that what next steps we should do to make sure that we give maximum pressure, because she told us plainly that the Parliament of Kenya operates under pressure. It doesn't things are just taken lightly if there is no enough external pressure. So she told us immediately when we leave there, we go write a letter to Mr. What's the name of this guy at the clerk of the National Assembly to petition to request the letter to be. It was a letter to request our petition to be given a priority hearing. So we did that. Then we did that. It's the letter that you saw we submitted 2 or 3 days ago on 27th. I think Shakira shared that. We submitted to make sure that, because the parliament right now, it's in recess and it will be back in the second week of September, to make sure that the first order of business, it is our petition. It's our petition that will try to amend the law. And, we are trying, this fight is on all fronts. It is just not on one front. Tukiwa kwa ground, tuki-inject civic education, we're also trying to make sure that we are not missing out on important things, so that when the right time comes, whether it's the time of election and everything, we are not just going to be rigged out by design. We just want to make sure that we are very aware of the processes, we are aware of what is happening, and we are able to come out in large numbers and request for change, to request for a candidate that serves us accordingly. So you saw that letter that we submitted. We shared it. We shared it also with the media. I know the media has still been given blackout. It's just pretending that we are not. It's not like there is something else that is happening. Yeah, but that's on the petition side. Coming to the other side, I've been heavily involved with the civic education as well, and the side that I've been involved in is I requested a group of people. Right now I have 64 translators. We are translating the 3 videos that were explaining the national debt, and we are translating them into all languages. So far as I can count, we have 7 languages that have been translated. The language that I posted, because the videos were ready and everything was ready, was the Luo. Luo has been translated and everything. I was able to share that. The rest of the video, we are releasing them slowly by slowly. And since there are 64 translators, they are moving in at their own pace, but I can confirm around 7 languages have been fully translated. And the reason why we are doing this is because when you listen to that message, you start to understand about our debt, and people start to understand they are not having any debt to pay, or people have been, there is all this money that is coming, it never gets to us, but it's Kenyans who have to pay for it. And the more why this information was important is that's the moment on Spaces we started questioning lawyers. We are like, okay, if debt is not it does not reflect anywhere from the Auditor's General report, it does not reflect that we were given this money. Can we still pay this money? And they were like, no. Our constitution states clearly that if the money was not used on any project in Kenya and it went to personal account, we are not liable as Kenyans to be able to pay that money. You see such conversation, but we need this just information that just flows on Twitter. We want this information ikuwe na mtu wa mashinani, ule mtu ako pale nyumbani kwetu Seikuru akuwe na hii information. That's one thing that we've been really pushing. So so far I'm having 64 translators. We have 7 languages. At least we've released all videos of Luo, but we still, there are new illustrations that are coming. We'll also try to include them. We are targeting at least, if I'll be able to do over 35 languages, hata kama hazitafika all 55 languages from the translators I have on board, I would really appreciate. And you guys, you have only one mission. Anytime you get this information, whether it's from TikTok, whether it's from whatever side, kindly, you have only share, chukua information, eka kwa hizo groups za WhatsApp. Kindly keep sharing this information. That's how we are going to make change. And on another thing, if you would also like to support the translators that are having on board, you can just come to my DM. I'm the one who've been supporting them and also a few friends. So kindly just come to the DM and we can keep doing the good work. So the other thing is I can talk. Let me also, this is a message to Kivutha Kibwana. And there is a space I was in and we were in the same space. And let me say this, just my consider this my public apology. And this is sometimes it's lack of knowledge, just because I'm from Mukambani and I was a little bit frustrated because of feeling like some of the things that were done in Makueni were not so long lasting. But why I'm here is, through interacting with several people in the civil society, interactions with Collins Odhiambo in LSK, interacting with people like Suba Churchill, we are able to see some of your contributions, people like Kivutha Kibwana, some of the roles you played for this country. They are really big roles. And this information we're able to get when we interact with such people. So the thing I want to tell Kivutha is that what we are lacking as youths is the capacity, it's called, let me put it like capacity building. We are lacking all this information. We are lacking the understanding on how we can play some of these roles. We are lacking seeing new guys mentoring the young guys, especially the people who are in the civil societies in the 90s. All those guys, I know they got into the government, likes of Kinamada Kome and all, and they forgot the role that the civil society has played in shaping this society. So as much as I'm uploading Kivutha, all I want to tell Kivutha and the rest of the guys in that bracket is that some of us, for me, in whatever year I was born, I'm a Gen Z, and being a Gen Z, there is much of the information that I really don't know. And the reason why I don't know, it's not that I'm ignorant, it's that actively we've not been seeing you guys trying to pick young people. I don't know if you've taken likes of Wanyama, Kina Kioti Songo, and called them into your office, trying to guide, trying to offer some guidance. This is the guidance that will help us to understand how these processes are done. I understand some of these government processes. The first time I've been involved in a petition, and I mean, my whole life is just indoor and probably, but first time I'm involved in a petition. I'm not a lawyer, I'm involved in a petition, and I'm learning all these processes are done. We are also learning so many other aspects. But how are we going to learn if, there is an intergenerational gap? And being on space, yes, it's playing a role, but I would like to tell people like Kibwana, just take an active space. It's not, sometimes I sat down with people like Suba Churchill, and you will be surprised. In 1997, Wondo alianzisha nane, because there was a sabasaba, like they did a nane. There were abduction by Moi regime. Several guys were killed during that time. And people like Kibwana, they really played a big role in helping and, kusaidia. But we will never know you guys were pioneers. We will never hear these stories because these stories are not on textbook. These stories are not in the history that we read. So if you actively, while you are still around, pick people, kina Kioti Songo, kina Wanyama, kina Farah, let's say kina Mkenya Daima of today, and they be under your, I don't know, it's, I mean, whereby we just see it, we just get to learn how a few things are done in the country. We might be so good in what we do. Yes, I'm a good software engineer, or I am not, but I might not understand how our country runs. I might not understand some of the struggle you guys did and how you are able to maneuver. That information is really invaluable to the most of young people like us who are in pursuit of a better country. I understand several years ago you guys were young and you are also in pursuit of a better country, because we've moved from Moi Senior, who we never experienced, now that we are having another Moi Junior called Ruto. So it means it's the same circle. So there is a lot, and you guys were able to overcome You guys were able to overcome Moi. I don't think we'll not be able to overcome just a guy like Ruto. That won't be really our big challenge. This one, huwezi tulemea. But again, that's information that we can only get directly from likes of you, Kivuta, and all the other guys who are with you in the civil society and all the other networks. Because once you interact with one person, that's when you realize all these networks are really important. And the thing is, sometimes these guys are assuming that we Gen Z, we are unapproachable, we are not able to learn, and now they are trying to paint us as, just because we said we are leaderless doesn't mean we are not ready to learn. We are ready to learn, we are ready to absorb all this information because we want to understand some of these processes. So guys, so that's all I wanted to end it there. I think it has been a long rant, but I just wanted to tell Kivuta that this was more of like my public apology. I acknowledge what you've done, and this is through the words of other people, and not that I asked what you did, but when all these stories are happening, and clearly I can see some of the role that you've played in shaping the country that we have in today. So yeah, that's from my end. So yeah, we'll keep doing the civic education. Allow me to shout out to KOT Songo. KOT Songo, Maze, your dedication to the movement. Sometimes I usually even feel like I'm not even doing enough for this movement. When I see what KOT Songo is doing, when I see what Kina Kebaso are doing, and everyone, you get. But I really appreciate you guys and everyone who is doing everything to the movement. So meanwhile, that's just for me. So if you would like to support you are out there and you would like to support the translators that I have 64 translators. Tumekuwa tu tukiwa support hapa na pale na nini vitu kidogo kidogo, nothing much because they came on board as volunteers, but it's they churning out some really good content. You can just come to my DM and you can keep supporting them. Thank you, KOT Songo. That was my long rant. And yeah, alafu hii nao ni ya mwisho. This is also to give the Kibwana and the networks. When there are seminars, there are conferences where youth can be involved. You get, it's because, guys, why I'm saying this. After I've interacted with some of these guys, I've realized there are so many seminars that we youth can be taken for capacity building. You get, because so that when we are carrying out some of these activities to can understand it. And who have all this information? It is these guys, because they are conducted by the big organization, and then they look around like I want Gen Zs. You get, they don't have Gen Zs. So inabidi ni wao tu wamejipeleka, and it's nini. So the reason why I'm saying that is we want to see when those seminars are happening. Nataka kuona KOT Songo. Si ati kila siku kina KOT Songo kina wanyama ndo wanajituma kila siku kwa barabara na nini. Mimi I'm grateful to the chairman of IRCK. Is someone who has been, amekuwa akitumenda. I've been Suba Churchill amekuwa kini mentor. He has put me now on, several places whereby I'm understanding how these processes are done.
Kenya is the director, not the chairman.
Oh, director. Yes, the director of IRCK. It is someone who, someone when you know, these are people who are shaping. They are really shaping us. So we want to tell them easy, because I've known these opportunities have been there as a but there is a gap. That's one thing. I can tell you guys, there is a meeting I've been sitting. And in those meetings, there is a very huge gap because hawajui who Gen Z to talk to. Hawajui kabisa. Because despite they have Gen Zs at their home place, but hawajui Gen Zs. Gen Zs si wengine, ni hawa kina KOT Songo kina wanyama. Just write to them, tell them KOT Songo I invite you to my office on 1-2. That guy will be available and you'll be able to you'll be able to help us, to be able to help us grow. Because there is some knowledge gap that we are missing as Gen Zs. That's why you see on some aspects, we might be failing in terms of the movement. But one thing is, we are going to learn through our failures. But again, the people out there, they can help us to grow and, maneuver through those failures that we've been making. So yeah, kusikiza advice ni free. Kuifuata inakuanga our own decision. Kama tutasikiza advice, tuone hii advice ni haitusaidii, it's okay. But most of the advices I've listened to, it's very practical because these are people who went through the same struggle. So guys, msitu assume kina Kivuda and your guys, msitu assume it all the guys that you can have reached to, wacha wakuje and nini. And almost to give a shout out to Nonini, whatever you did in that song, immortalizing all the guys that was more than music and always appreciated. It's your guy from Sekurum, Kenya Daima here, and yeah, I'll peace out.
Thank you very much, Mkenya. Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Wanyama, can
by the
I
even
add on
speak.
something that I think he forgot?
Farah, kidogo tu. Binti, how are you today?
Yeah, no, hi. I'm offended actually.
That's the
Good evening,
right
though.
response.
Yeah, no. I wanted to come to you first, then go to KOT. But if you want to give Farah first, then that's your. It's
No.
up to you. Go
They
ahead.
have always been,
Wanyama, I can't hear you. I don't know if I'm
Just tell Farah
supposed to go
Wanyama
on
has
or...
refused. They have always been the host and giving him the
Farah.
first chance to speak. Mwambie nimekataa.
Okay, I think Mkenya forgot
can you hear me?
that
Farah, Konutiski.
the
Can you hear
director
me?
also offered us the IRCK channels
Farah,
nationwide
Farah,
and also capacity building
Farah, can you
amongst
hear Binti?
ourselves. The offer of the nationwide channels.
So, these are the benefits of being a co-host. Ni mimi nimemute Farah. Mtu ako na shida, ambie Farah ni mimi nimemute. Farah, come back to the mic. Farah knows we don't hate him. Farah, you can request. Hakuna auski anyone on the panel. So, please request for the mic again. So, what I wanted to say is this. Just a quick one. Yes, I've been listening in, and kudos to you as well, Kenya Daima, for also kuna kitu important may happen. He has calmed down and asked for help, which is what I've been trying to advocate. Hata wengine kina Keoti kina nani have been trying to advocate. Let us ask for help when we are in a position where kuna vitu zenye we need to accept, we need to learn. Cha kwanza ni, and I'm championing this. Please, guys, youths, young millennials, and Gen Zs, this is the time you should step up and take these political positions. Kujeni manze, we are forming that group. I'm not doing it in secret. We are forming that group where you guys are supposed to create a community of politicians, not activists. Wale mnataka elective seats. This is the time. Get in touch with me. The list is growing, but I want you guys, me mwenyewe siko interested in an elective seat, but I'm taking the part of saying you guys need to create a community and come together at this point. So, ulizeni, if you want the contacts, the WhatsApp or something, please, uliza. And then also you can get, I've opened my DMs as well. Send your name and your phone number. I will not be acting on anything that is less than that. But thanks a lot, Kenya Daima, for also highlighting that. Binti, choose whether you're going to give Farah or not.
Binti, are you still there?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was talking without my mic being unmuted. Sorry, my bad. Farah, please speak to us for like maybe 2 minutes. I want to go to KT for something.
Thank you.
Different. So Farah, hi.
Wanyama, asanteni sana. I've actually laughed at myself. I think Mkenya forgot, but I thought, but did you guys hear me? Were you guys hearing me?
Oh, we heard everything. Don't worry about that.
Then I don't need to speak because I literally said what I needed to say. It's just that he offered us through the interreligious channels, through either the churches or the mosques, to help decimate our information throughout the country. And as long as it was positive and clean information, and help in capacity building, whether it's locally or across Africa, because they have good connection with interreligious councils in other countries. So that's the only thing he forgot. Thank you. And Wanyama, utaacha ukoloni.
Hey, Wanyama, mi siambia hivyo, by the way. Siwezi kubali. But thank you very much, Farah. So I want to bring in KOT for just a few minutes before we go back to the speakers. He's our host. If you guys have been listening to Sauti ya Mwananchi in the past week or so, you would know that we've been crowdfunding for a civic education trip, if I can call it that, So KOT, please come on the mic and tell us more about it. I've seen videos. I know you're doing it. So how did it go? Like, what happened? Just speak to us about it.
Okay, so guys, good evening. And so since we started to host Sauti ya Mwananchi, we said we are going to identify problems and solve the have solutions towards those problems. And so one of the problem to identify ni kwamba our people, they lack knowledge because hawafundishwi. And so we said we'll embark on civic education, Mashinani, and that's why the topic of today. Actually, I was to come here and give you the update of what happened on the SGR, but then you people infiltrated this this space and turned the topic to something else. But of course, you have been having an educative speakers here, and I thank you guys for that. So today, me and some other 3 volunteers, we embarked on a civic education trip to Mombasa through the SGR because we realized that SGR has 11 coaches, and these coaches, each coach carries about 180 people. So probably when the SGR is full, it carries around 1,800. Yeah, when it is full. So we went to different coaches, and now those flyers that you guys helped us to print, yeah, we wanted 1,000, but we got around 500, and so we said let us just use what we have. So we started to distribute those flyers. So we distribute, and then after that we speak to people. But now because we wanted to observe, we respected the audience, we respected that environment. We didn't want to have a lot of noise. We were speaking to people in group. Penye walikuwa wamekaa tu, we just go there, sit there. Kila mtu alikuwa anachukua at least 3 rows. And so there is we had a good reception because almost 80% of the people on board were buying our idea. And of course, we find out that these people, they have no knowledge of the constitution because I had a lawyer, ule jamaa anakujanga hapa anapiga kelele, anaitwa sijui Maumau. That guy is a lawyer. I was even shocked to find out that is a lawyer by profession. And then also heard another lady anajitanga Nora. She has studied business, and then personally I've done electrical, and I had another one pia amefanya electrical. So we were sharing the reasons why we were on the streets and why these people need to buy our idea. And so we are giving them examples like tribalism, corruption, education, the debt crisis, na hizo vitu zote. So there is this lady, I think she's in her 60s, mwenye alinifurahisha sana. When we went there, she asked us not to be that rigid that hatutaki kupata advice from other people, because she was like, you guys, you want to bring change, but now the only thing that you people don't have is knowledge, because you need to sit with even those people who have been in these government offices, yeah, to teach you how hizo offices are handled. Apart from mambo na venye wanaiba, there are so many things that we don't know that we need to know. So guys, venye Mkenya alikuwa anasema tu, we need to look for these leaders wenye tunajua have good track records, yeah, those wenye hata wamekuwa MPs and we have seen in their constituencies they have done good things. Those are the people. Nani huyu jamani? Hey, Jomas, just a minute, mute your mic. Yeah, we need to find these people and ask them, yeah, for mentorship before tuamuke tuseme now we want to vie and bring change. Of course, we will be elected. You'll go in that office. You don't know anything. What are you going to do? Yeah, we'll be creating a problem that it will take a lot of time to solve. And so mimi hata appreciate Mkenya when he was asking the likes of Professor Kivuta to offer a space of mentorship to the young people. Yeah, we have somebody like the former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga. Yeah, he's a good person, he's knowledgeable, he can give us direction. We have different leaders whom we know. Yeah, wale wenye hawaja kuwa nini sana na hizi corruption cases, and they are not that greedy like those other leaders wenye tunajua. Yeah, so we need to find them and request them to give us mentorship here. Yeah, we should be calling them even on these spaces, give them even 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, they talk to us, they encourage us, they guide us. So we are still in Mombasa, and tomorrow we'll be doing civic education still at Bunge la Mwananchi. Not Bunge, yeah, I think Bunge la Mwananchi. Yeah. And then after that, we'll go and do some charity work in a certain children's home here. We've arranged that. Then on Monday, we'll still do the same. Alafu we'll plan how to come back through the same means of transport as we continue to inject, because this was the first time, yeah, just to stand in front of people and educating them on matters constitution, educating them on matters their rights as citizens of this country. And of course, because we had that good reception. In fact, other police officers were on board, yeah, and now they even came, sat mahali tulikuwa, and they were listening. Yeah, we had a KDF officer, a Kenya police officer, and pia how it looks like they were resonating with what we are sharing with them, because we were giving them facts, what is happening. Yeah, and of course we are not there for incitement, we are not there to talk negatively about the government or any person, but we were there to talk about how the system in Kenya, it doesn't work, and how we need to come out, we really need to come out as young people to ensure that we call the leaders to accountability, to ensure that we are ending corruption, to ensure that tribalism is a long gone story. And so we had a very nice reception, and I really appreciate you guys, because you came through when we requested that you help us get some posters and flyers, because we couldn't just go there kwa mikono tupu. Some people, when you talk to them, they also want to have somewhere to refer from. Yeah, and so we had those bulletins, the reasons why the system is not working and why we need good governance. So we thank you so much. Yeah, lakini by next week, of course, mwendelee kutupringia hizo posters, mtuite mahali ziko tukuje tuchukue, because I had one guy mwenye aliprint 200 and he was like, where are you? Come in town and pick from here. And I was like, no, I'm not coming there because I personally don't know you. And he said, let me just give a rider, alafu atakuletea. And the rider delivered those posters to me. Yeah, guys from diaspora also did a very nice job. Yeah, they shared some cash, we printed the posters. Zingine hata tuliprintia Mombasa, because I have good connection in Mombasa. Nilituma huko pesa, nikamwambia just print, will come for them tomorrow. And so hizo tunaenda kufanya nazo kazi kesho. Yeah, and apart from that, guys, I've received a certain book from Professor Kivuta Kibwana, inaitwa Learning Together to Build One Nation. So this book is in PDF format, and I'm sure I can't share it here on the space. So I'm going to create a link yenye itakudirect to that PDF format of that book. Ensure you download it and educate yourself. Na pia educate any other person when you feel like when you people come together, we can build the one nation. So thank you so much, Nani Binti. Back to you.
Thank you very much, KT. Hey, you guys have heard, like, Yanni, we're not just talking about these things qua space. We have people on the ground that are actually physically doing all these things. So KT Mabonga, thank you very much for your dedication to this movement, and your time, your energy, all of it, and your space too. So now I want to go to Sylvia, then I go to Misiko, then Dr. Majus. Please welcome to the mic. We're talking about civic education. Mashinani, talk to us, Sylvia. Is Sylvia speaking? Sylvia, can you hear me? I don't think we can hear you, Sylvia. So we'll go to Misiko. Misiko CEO, can you hear me?
Yeah, clear. I can hear you. Hope you can hear me as well.
Yes, I can. Sylvia, just drop for a second, then come back, and then I'll send the mic to you. But Misiko, please go ahead.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So Kyochi, good. Keep it up for the good job that you're doing. And everyone who's in this space, we are doing great. Even just sitting here and sharing our ideas is so great. From Kenya, we hope that whatever you guys are pushing gets successful, so that we get a fair electoral body, so that when we are telling our people to join politics, when time comes for them to be elected, they are elected fairly. I just want to say that the fear is still there. Politicians they still want to hear what people want. I've tried to engage a number of them, and they're like, we know you people, what do you want? And I'm like, we don't want much from you people. We just want you people to deliver for us. We want a fair governance, or to lead a good governance for our country. And I feel it's the right time for those who are interested to join politics as well. We can join. So I'm very glad, happy to hear that from some of the politicians that I've met during the week. So just to remind you guys that our movement is still on. We are still on a good track, and we're going to make it. So we should not be discouraged. Let's keep on encouraging ourselves, and let's also keep up on the civic education, because that's the only way we're going to save this country from bad governance. That's the only way we are going to protect this country from corrupt leadership. And then for those who are interested in politics, let's share it out. I personally spoke it out, and it has been received with a lot of gratitude and a lot of hopes that we people can make a difference. So don't fear, don't be shy, don't fear to speak out. Tell them whatever position you want to hold, and start monitoring what the current leader in that position is doing. And if you realize that it's failing now, that is a good indicator to you that is a position that is waiting for you to take. So thank you so much. Let's keep it up. I believe we will win. One day we'll be sitting in this space and congratulating our friends, congratulating our brothers and sisters for the good things that we have done. It's not too long before that time comes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Misiko. But there, I agree. I feel like in the future, we need to be very transparent with who we're putting into government, and that starts now. So if you want to join now, be transparent about what you want to vie for, like which seat and your intentions with it. So thank you very much, Misiko. And Sylvia, I think you're back. Can you hear me now, and can you speak?
Hi, everyone. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, 100%. Go ahead.
Yeah, my issue is just one about the civic education. I'm from Bungoma, and my village people actually, they understand Udaku more. So like if you tell them about government, they would ask you about all the issues you're telling them about the constitution. How does it like directly affect them? So I remember during the reject finance bill, until I told my mom that, this land eventually you'll have to pay for it, and if you fail to pay for the rates, the government will take it. That is when she felt so attacked, and that is when she woke up. So as much as we have so much to tell these people in the village, most of them is like they don't care. So we need to find like one element or a few elements that really hit home. Like for my place, if we highlight things that are in line with agriculture, let's say, for example, the bills that have been tabled in parliament about seeds, about, livestock and all that. If I go to any village and tell them, like my starting point is from such kind of talk, it really gets their attention. So I think as we go out there, let's like highlight the things that really affect that place. For example, the Kambas, there has been this bill about the dengue and all that. As much as you have the other information to put across, start with something that affects like the person who is on the bottom of the pyramid, so that the information trickles down and it spreads. And then I had also like put across that if we can get things like calendars, you see, for a flyer, how many of us have walked into Safaricom shops or any other shops and there are flyers about an item or a commodity that is being sponsored, or maybe there is a discount? We just take a look and throw it away. But for something like a calendar, and people are actually always interested to have calendars of 2025. They feel like they have been sorted. So we can as well use such kind of ways to carry across the information, and we know that information is going to stay with them for some time. Even those calendar, if they are in soft copies, anybody can print them from anywhere. And then another thing about maybe if we narrow down to the county level and sub-county level to the MCAs, if you can use the auditor's report to like come up with the information about the monies that have been lost in every sub-county, and then like direct it to the specific people of that county or that sub-county, it affects them better than if we spread the constitution alone. People, they need to understand what the bad that this government is doing, or the worst that this government is doing, that is even worse than the past regime. So I think that is what I can just say for now.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. I think so that book, yeah, Kivuta, is about how to do civic education. So I'll be sharing that link to the book saizi tu na upload somewhere, then I'll put it here on the Jumbotal. So ensure you download it, then read it, understand, and of course do it practically, because civic education is more of practical work. It's your theory tu hapa kupiga kelele. Let us go to the ground and do whatever we want others to do, because if you can't go to the ground and do what you want people to do, then there is nobody who will do it. So let me give it to Misiko, and then Binti will be back. Then Binti, after Misiko, kindly give to the real job, because he was here some hours ago. Okay. Misiko.
Hi, Kelchi. I think I was given a chance, and I shared my view. So I think I should give it to someone else.
Yeah, I was gonna
Maybe
say,
you are off.
Misiko just spoke a few minutes ago, so we'll just go to the real Joe. The real Joe, hi, good evening. Thank you, Misiko.
Good evening, Binti. Good evening, Keoti. How are you?
We're offended. How are you?
I'm offended too, just like you. I'm happy seeing what Keoti is doing. It is really touching to see such. Because he said this last week as a joke in one of the spaces, and today I saw him doing it, and it's very inspiring, by the way, Keoti. So keep up the spirit. This is what we really need for this movement. So that is exactly what civic education actually is. Getting to the masses and just talking to them one-on-one and things like that. However, I wanted to talk about, still in line with civic education, I wanted to talk about something that partly I heard Redemptor talked about. And we are, I think maybe I've said this also before, we are in the information era. And information era, there is also information warfare. So we need to understand that. And therefore, we've seen a few elements of information warfare, even applying to us. We've seen sometimes we've been subjected into discussing things as per the other people maybe trying to do it to us. This is the era of information, and it will always be used in one way or another, maybe misused in one way or another. So we need to really watch out for that. I've seen one tactic that has been applied in the recent just few days, the tactic of disruption and deception. These tactics, you need to understand that these people have they are well organized. They have good advisors. If you look keenly, I think maybe Redemptor had mentioned that. If you look at this keenly, they are well advised on what actually strategies to apply. It is not a joke. You can draw this from the 2017 election, when we came to realize that a tactic was used against the masses using a company called Cambridge Analytica then. And Cambridge Analytica was used to spread information against a particular candidate. I won't talk about it so much, but that is what is here with us. So I know as young people, we easily react to some of these things. And I've seen in the timeline a few days, we've been forced into diverting from discussing the real issues that we have been always raising. And we've been made to start discussing Luo Nyanza, the president was there, things like that. That is what the political class do. They go to those places, they make a statement, and they expect someone else to go to another mkutano, make a statement, then it is making this statement against this statement, against this statement, and that is what they do. That is politics for it. We've raised the bar and shown that we only discuss issues, matters corruption, matters mismanagement of public funds, matters debt, all that. That's what we are discussing. And that is where we always need to be. And in every civic education, that is where we are always supposed to be. We just need to set the bar to that level. And that is how we start introducing issue-based politics in our system. Having said that, I also wish to encourage us, because I think we are learning also a lot from when the movement started. When the movement started, there was a time when some of the older generation, perceived older generation, would not freely speak in our spaces, because you would easily get bashed. You would easily come with an idea and you would easily get bashed. But I'm happy we are learning and we're inviting them into advising and helping, because that is how we also get to the older generation, our parents, even though I know they're millennial parents and they're also Gen Z parents. But our parents, the parents of those Gen Z parents of just millennials, how do you get to them? You can maybe the way in which we communicate is different from how they communicate. It is maybe difficult to make them understand your point of view, but using someone who is in the same generation as them would easily make them understand that information better. So therefore, it is a Gen Zote movement right now. And I'm glad that we are also understanding that as a people. So moving forward, we're bringing everybody together. So it was Gen Z-led movement. Right now, it is Gen Zote-led movement. So all of us, we are picking up hands together and moving as one people, because the goal is one. Even those people that we are saying, our parents were the enemy and things like that, they want the same things as we want. But we need to package this information in a way that it gets to them well. And parents have influence, by the way. Parents have influence. They can also tell other people. And parents are people, I'll tell you, parents are people, once they have this information and it has gotten to them well, they'll easily speak to them in churches. We have these days, I don't know why we desisted from occupying churches. And someone challenged us yesterday in a certain forum that, most of the Gen Zs don't like going to church. So they will not be able to occupy churches. So, it's also something that we as a people, we are learning. I know the young people, we are learning. We easily react, by the way. We easily react. We easily get agitated. You see a post on X, umekasirika, and you're already tweeting something else, and that is just us. We are easily, but when you learn from the older generation, you start becoming calm. You start digressing info. You start getting to understand what is the point of view of this person. What is he trying to say? Some point we've been subjected into discussions whereby people are arguing, but maybe they're even saying the same thing, but they're still arguing, our patani, but they're discussing the same things. So even as we offer this civic education every day, let us be very, very candid. Let us package our information in a way that it gets to everyone correctly, well. And that is the way that we are going to educate as many people as possible. As I yield, as I've said from the start, this is an era of information. and information comes with information warfare. When it gets to that level, don't shy away from using that. We've seen it has worked for us before. You remember the time we were doing Aura for Aura. It worked, even though sometimes there are times when information can also do serious damages. But it is part of what we are fighting. So let us continue to encourage each other. Let us continue doing these things. This is just where Kenya should be right now. We are setting the pace. This is the pace that we are supposed to go with. So thank you very much for giving me the mic. So I yield.
Yes, thank you very much, the real Joe. Sorry for the wait, but yeah, you're right. I think we need to just appreciate the knowledge that we can actually get from our elders in quotes. And even in the comments here, I see that Professor Kivuda has said, I hear him Kenya Daima, no hustle. I am ready to do what he's asking, together with the other people from my generation. Your struggle is just. You are the generation which will change Kenya and Africa. Kudos. So kudos to us, guys. We're not there yet, but at least we can see that we're making steps towards it. So I want to go to what? Oh, Kenyan has gone. He was here before. Anyways, I'll go to Dr. Majus. Sorry, I know I say you're next. Yeah, Dr. Majus, please go ahead.
Thank you, Binti. Thank you, host KOT. And I want to thank everyone who has joined this space. I didn't want to talk today, but somebody talked here that forced me to talk. First, let me start by appreciating every good work that you people are doing. Thank you very much, KOT, for the effort you are making. I saw those your videos. They are very much impressive. And it's come out very clear that you are making a very good step. Guys, what I want to request is one, and if in case I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. Somebody talked here, I think, someone who was talking much about what Raila has done and etc. Our focus, just like KOT said, that when he was in Mombasa, he concentrated on the bad governance. The police were there, the KDF were there, and he was not mentioning anybody's name. I think that one will sell our motive, will sell our agenda, and we will go far. This guy, so-called Raila, I earlier said that let's thank God that he is walking away. The guy is moving. We really understand and feel the pain of what we have gone through, our brethren that we have lost. And when we keep on accusing these people, today in the morning I was in an X-Space of people from Luonyans. I think Dennis was there and somebody called Riak. I've seen just Riak here. Riaks. The people are complaining that in every space that the Luos join, there is some accusation of Ruto visiting that area and there is welcoming. Not everyone is welcoming Ruto, and there are people that you cannot stop them. Our youths are very much angry. There is a lot of poverty in our country. And whenever you offer them even 100 shillings, I saw it, I witnessed that they were being given 50 bob and they could join these places and washangilie president ni kama unadhani wamepata 1,000. And to some extent, when I was taking this civic education, some of us, we won't air them, the videos, because we work with the government. I can't resign at this point because I feed my family. And I have to do this because for the better future of the next generation, for the youths that are here who have not have a good life as we expect, we need to send this bad governance away. So we have to do that. And the people are saying that now that they have some few ministers, they have no choice but to support the government. The government is now good. But the question was to them like, how? Have we ever had these ministers before? We were having these ministers before, but there was no change in litmus paper. The minister doesn't have any allocation that he will come directly and put it in your head and or do something. So for the economy of this country to change, we must have a good president. We must have good people in the parliament. So whenever this lady called Tyrus, when she was speaking, I think it was yesterday, and it's all over in the Twitter, people are complaining of her accusing the Luo nation. So whenever you go out to try and do this civic education, we get it tough as from the Luo, the Luo nation ends here. I mean, Migori physically have been trying to do 1, 2, 3. So it's like, hao watu wametoka tu kututusi. I want to tell you that all these politicians, including the ones that we have been hosting in this